presents group discussion about the areas related to the relevance of ISO 14001 to 2015 to the following. A. Leadership management. Its effect to public policy. Its effect to internalization and globalization.
Wow. Naman, Aniko.
Ason?
Sige, go. Um, good evening, everyone. Um, today we will be having our activity 4.2 group discussion about our discussion on the ISO 14001 2015. So um, so there are three areas that we need to discuss. Um, the first um, the first area is the leadership and management. The second one is its effect to public policy, and the last one is its effect on internalization and globalization. So, but before that, I would like to do a short roll call for our members. Is Michael John present? Paharon?
Present.
Present. Lord Nico Paharon is present.
Present.
Dave Itom.
Present.
And Pagaran Jessime. Where's Pagaran? Nakamute. Let's continue. Who would like to discuss the first topic, which is the leadership and management? Anyone from the group? Mr. Paharon.
Yes. So,
You may discuss your ideas or your research about the topic.
okay. Hello, classmates. For formality, I would like to introduce myself. I am Lord Nico Paharon, a fourth-year BP student of Bukidnon State University. I believe I am the first to report for today, and my topic together with Michael Jan Paharon is all about leadership and management of the ISO 14001 2015 revision. To get started, let me just explain briefly what is ISO 14001 is. ISO 14001 is defined by ASQ as a series of international environmental and management standards, guides, and technical reports. The standards specify requirements for establishing an environmental management policy, determining environmental impacts of products of services, planning environmental job objectives, implementing programs to meet objectives, and conducting corrective action and management review. The primary objective of ISO 14001 series of standards is to promote effective environment management system in organizations. The standard seeks to provide cost-effective tools that make use of the best practices for organizing and applying information about environmental management. The ISO 14001 family was developed in response to recognize industry need for standardization. Who created these standards? First, the first environmental management standard, which is called BS 7750, was published in 1992 by the BSI Group. In 1996, the International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, created the ISO 14001 family standards. ISO 14001 standard underwent revision in 2004. The current revision of ISO 14001 was established in September 2015. Who issues ISO 14001 certificate? ISO, or the International Organization for Standardization, is a network of standards institutes from 159 countries with central office in Geneva, Switzerland, that coordinates the member network. From the online article of Aisha Gallo, she stated that the reason why environmental management systems appeared just few decades ago is because of the increasing global concern of environmental issues. She narrated that it was in the 1960s when environmental management movement started to become popular, followed in 1972 by the first United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in Stockholm. But it wasn't until 1992, during the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, and the United Nations reached an agreement in order to protect the environment by reducing the negative impacts of businesses' activities. The same year, BSI Group, or British Standards Institution, published the world's first environmental management system standards, the BS 7750. It provides the basis for the management system standards. The BS 7750, it provides the basis for the International Organization for Standardization to finally develop ISO 14001 Environmental Management System, specification and guidance for use in 1996. Before its first launch in 1996 of ISO 14001 series of standards organization already voluntary had been developing their own environmental management system in order to minimize the negative effects of the process on the environmental. However, they didn't have the necessary tools to compare their environmental practices and impact until ISO 14001 as a common framework for comparison. So that's all for my research. I think Michael Jan had some other ideas.
So, so thank you, Mr. Paharon, Lord Nico. Thank you for sharing your ideas in the group. So, who would like to add some ideas or some research
Yes,
for this kind of topic?
yes, yes.
Yes, Mr. Michael Paron, you may now speak.
So, good evening, everyone. I
Good
am Michael John
evening.
Paharon. So, and I would like to support the information presented by my co-presenter about the role of the 2015 revision of ISO 14001 on the Philippine leadership and management. As I described, the purpose of ISO 14001 is not to provide directly the policies and action to be developed and to be followed by any organization. It helps as a guide for our government leaders and any organization who aims to develop its environmental management system. In short, it provides specific requirements and right tools for organization to create a equality environmental management system, allowing them to create their own policies that will suit to their respective values and goals. Part of its requirements is of organization to plan and implement a series of practices and procedures result result to a more effective environmental management system. Thus, the outcome of the compliance to the ISO 14001 will become the government's guide in assessing whether an organization is compliant to the international standards. So that's all for my idea.
So thank you, Mr. Michael John Paharon. Thank you for sharing also your ideas and research about this particular area, which is the leadership and management. So since the two of you have already shared your ideas about the area of this leadership and management. So now let's proceed to the its effect to public policy. So who would be who in the who will discuss this topic about the its effect to public policy? Mr. Itom Dave.
Good evening. I'm Dave Paglaritum. I'm about to report the areas related to the relevance of the ISO 14001 on its effects to public policy. So ISO 14001 is a systematic framework to manage the immediate and long-term environmental impact of an organization, products, services, and processes. Also, ISO 14001 is at the intersections of public safety, public health, and its effect to public policy through respond to medical emergencies and traumatic injuries in their communities and 24/7. Also, the ISO 14001 helps to identify the causes of environmental problems and then eliminate them. I think that's all about my understanding my task.
So thank you, Mr. Dave Itom, for your research. It's short. It is short, but it's kind of useful and then informative. So thank you, Mr. Itom. So since one of our group mates have left this meeting because of poor connection, let's just proceed to the next topic or the next area. So since all of you have shared your research and ideas for a particular topic, I would like to take this topic. I would like to share my own research and my knowledge about the topic, the area C, or its effect to internalization and globalization. So so the relevance of the ISO 14001 2015 on its effect on the internalization and globalization. So before I begin to give my insight about the relevance of the ISO 14001 2015 on effects on the internalization and globalization, let me discuss first the negative effects of globalization towards our environment. So what are the effects of globalization towards our environment? So according to my research and according to the management study, globalization has led to increased production for business demand. And when we say that increase of demands, it means more natural resources to be used. And these natural resources can be used up before they are regenerated, leading to a negative impact on the environment. So now that we know or we have ideas on how globalization negatively affects our environment, let's now discuss what is the ISO 14001 2015 and its benefits. So according to the ISO organization or the website, ISO 14001:2015 is intended for use by an organization securing to manage its environment responsibilities in a systematic manner that contributes to the environment. So now that we know the effects of globalization and importance of ISO 14001, let's now discuss the relevance of the ISO 14001:2015 to its effect on internalization and globalization. I think the relevance of ISO 14001:2015 is that it helps protect our environment, especially now that globalization is a hot trend. Um, before I Earlier I told you the effects of the globalization, the negative effects of globalization. So I think the relevance of the ISO 14001:2015 is it helps protect our environment by providing systematic manner that contributes to the environment. And now another thing is that the ISO 14001:2015 helps all the organization to prevent the negative effects of ongoing trend of globalization. I believe globalization is one of the main cause of climate change. That's why the ISO 14001 is important and relevant in battling the negative effects of globalization. I'm not really saying that globalization is really affecting, although it's helping our community economically, but I think the negative effects of the globalization has been mm. so I think that's all for my research about this particular area or of relevance to the ISO 14001. So anyone would like to add up any ideas or add additional research or information or your insights or knowledge about this particular area, the relevance of ISO 14001 to 15 to the internalization and globalization? No one? No one would like to
Wala.
add
Wala na ako.
info? Since I think we are since we have already discussed all the three areas to be discussed in today's group discussion, I think we are all done. So thank you, Mr. Lord Nico Paron, Mr. Michael John Paron, and Mr. Dave Itom, and to one of the group is Ms. Jessamy Pagaran, who was not able to attend because of the poor connection in their area. I also would like to thank her for just sending me a notice before the group discussion. So thank you, everyone. So yes, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Till next. Bye bye.
Thank you everyone.